Our entrepreneurs are the foundation for economic development and diversity. And that's why we'll be talking about people who are here to award those entrepreneurs who have started from nothing, have grown their businesses, have employed people, have helped to grow the Nigerian economy. Well, joining us now is Senior Special Assistant to Abia State Governor on Job Creation, Youth Development and State Focal Person Social Investment Program, Chineye Nwagu. Welcome.
It's good to have you.
Thanks for joining us. Executive Director, Nigerian Entrepreneurs Award, Uwabo Joshua also joins us now. Joshua, you're welcome. And a fashion designer, musician, and I must also add, entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Kakaki Okuru, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So first of all, let's start with the vision. I mean, what birthed the vision of the Entrepreneurship Award?
Okay, the vision, it actually started in 2014. We actually created the platform to celebrate emerging entrepreneurs, business executives, corporate organizations who are changing the face of the economy in Nigeria. Okay, and we actually want a platform where we can celebrate Nigerian entrepreneurs, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that needs encouragement and needs to be celebrated, needs to be honored. So we created a platform to be Nigerian #1 platform celebrating entrepreneurs. That's the vision about the Nigerian Entrepreneurs Award.
How has this recognition inspired other entrepreneurs?
Okay, from the onset, when we started in 2014, we've been able to recognize young and emerging entrepreneurs, top business executives. The last year's edition, we had quite a number of young and emerging entrepreneurs, which we honored. And one of them, as at this time now, is exporting his product to 16 countries. 16 countries, and this, if we had not discovered him, if we had not celebrated him, he would have gotten that push. Okay, so we, not just the corporate organization or the business executive, also encouraging startups. Also startups, because these startups, once we encourage them, once we celebrate them, it gives them that push, that moral that yes, what they are doing
is being seen, it's being recognized. Chineye, Abia State in particular would be seen as one of the entrepreneurship hubs in Nigeria. How is your government thinking about what is it doing to support those, small entrepreneurs and even those who have grown their businesses to develop more?
Okay. You remember when Governor Bazu, during the campaign, he marshaled out 5 pillars of development, one of which is supporting micro, small and medium enterprises. Because Abia State, especially Aba, already has a history as the SME capital of Nigeria, where you have over 80% of the people who live in the city involved in one form of entrepreneurship or the other. So for us, our growth trajectory was set up. We knew that we needed to build a strong, robust and viral economy in Abia State. We had a lot of young people who had no jobs. We had a lot of businesses, a lot of economic challenges facing Nigeria at the time. So we knew that we needed to latch on something we already had, both comparative and competitive advantage, which is that our people are very good entrepreneurs. So when the governor came, the path was very clear that for us to succeed as a government, for us to put more young people in jobs, for us to grow a strong economy, that we improve IGR, to grow a robust economy that would be very liquid, we needed to support that. So first thing we did, before now, the relationship between entrepreneurs and government was that of a tax master and a taxpayer. But the governor changed that narrative. First, we started engaging with them. We had a lot of opportunities to meet with them, to engage with them. Advocacy programs were initiated. We also focused on certain products that we had very good comparative advantage. The shoe and the garment sector. And also Aba is also very good in fabrication, all kinds of machinery fabrication. So we engage with all that, the people involved in all those kind of sectors. And we were able to find out what the challenges were. Hitherto people thought their challenges were just about financing. But the governor found out that you have this young man in Aba who labors all through the night to produce a very beautiful shoe. And he puts made in Italy, made in Bangladesh and all that. So we needed first to deal with the issue of confidence and branding. Today, if you go to Aba, the hub of shoemaking in Nigeria, most of the shoes that are leaving the shores of Aba, over 1 million pairs on weekly basis. All of them are having proudly made in Aba as Aba. So we've dealt with the issue of that confidence and branding. So because the governor also, every day, as you see him dress up, everything he's wearing from his head to his toe are all produced locally in Abia State, in Aba to be precise. And now we encourage them to put the signal, proudly made in Aba, put their own name, their label and all that. So that confidence was one of the greatest things that was, lacking, and we've been able to bring it back. And today, we have exposed the entrepreneurs in Aba. The first trip we had, we went to Turkey. We went with a lot of them to exchange ideas with their the best all over the world. We've taken them to Brazil. We've taken them to the United States of America. We started promoting their trade. We organized a fashion show. We had one here in Abuja. We've had one in New York. And the next one, this Christmas period, will be held in Aba, where we're bringing everybody to Aba. Because of that level of exposure, matching them with the federal government agencies that are involved in supporting MSME.
Let me come in here. I mean, it's quite economical, the steps that the government has taken. But let's look at even the neighboring countries that we have in Africa, which is a huge market, which a lot of people overlook when they're talking about export and import. How is the government also looking at harnessing that relationship? Because when you find out the nearest market is the best investor across board, when you look at the economic model. So what is the intervention plan for the Abia State government to look at, filling the market of the Abia, to go to other African countries to see how they can look at exchange of ideas and trade as well?
Of course, if you have followed Aba very closely, Aba has the Ariara. Ariara is the biggest market in the whole of West Africa. Over 70% of people who come to patronize activities in Ariara come from neighboring West African countries. I just said earlier that Aba moves over 1 million leather products on weekly basis. All these products leave the shores of Nigeria. We have engaged with the National Export Promotion Council to be able to capture, because we found that, like I said earlier, first thing we needed to deal with our relationship with them as a government. Because prior to this time, these activities in Aba was not captured in our national data and statistics platforms. So many people didn't know what was happening in Aba. When the Vice President, then Acting President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, came to Aba for the MSME clinic, he was overwhelmed by the level of activity that was going on in Aba amongst the entrepreneurs. And one of the things the governor has consistently done is to bring what is going on in Aba on the global map. In terms of encouraging access, what we have done, of course, before we came in, there was a lot of infrastructure deficits around Aba. Today, we have done over 30-something roads within Aba, and all these roads are linked to these centers of production. And the level of and the quality of road construction going on in Aba to support economic activity speaks to our passion and our desire to see that all those who come to Aba to do business, especially those who come from outside the shores of Nigeria, have the best experience doing business in Aba.
Okay, for time, what is the cost implication? Because you find out that even up to now, we still have an influx of Chinese products in the market. And some people would say, China is cheaper and, easier, even though sometimes the qualities are way below that of the made in Aba products. What is the cost, barrier? Because people have complained that sometimes it is because of the high costs of those products made locally and in comparison to those that are imported from across the shores, and that's why they will purchase, that.
The story you will not have out there is that most of the things you see made in China, made in Italy, are all made in Aba. Most of them. And that is why the first thing we needed to deal with was the confidence issue, the branding issue. And as a government, we have signed on a lot of entrepreneurs say, if we must promote your goods, you must be sure to be identified with it. Right. So today we have all that kind of issues. But in terms of cost of product, of course, it's a national challenge. There is a power issue attached to cost of production. There's infrastructure issue. There's access to cheap funds. And we're dealing first today. Some parts of Area is enjoying uninterrupted power supply, because we went to the federal government to say, see, if you want to improve economic statistics, Aba is not just an Abia State project. Aba, the huge economic activities going on in Aba requires the support of all and sundry, both local and international agencies. And the Vice President directed the Rural Electrical Agency to go to Ariaria, which is the hub of production and economic activity in Aba. As I speak today, the pilot scheme has powered over 1,000 shops in Ariaria. There are over 250,000 shops in Ariaria alone. The goal of this project is to supply Ariaria cheap, uninterrupted power, which will crash down the cost of production. We have also engaged with the Bank of Industry to ensure that entrepreneurs in Abia State, especially in Aba, the hub of production, have access to cheap capital. We just flagged out the distribution of 3 billion loan to small entrepreneurs in Abia State. We signed a 1 billion matching fund with the Bank of Industry, which will give cheap funds at very cheap rates, single-digit rates to entrepreneurs, so that their cost of production will also come down.
Let me come to Caxton. You are an entrepreneur, and I see you. I'm sure you're a designer. Wearing what you make. Now, what are the challenges? I know that we have talked about the coniums. We've looked at the leaping steps of the entrepreneurs, industry. Aba seems to be, the model state for some of the states across Nigeria. But as an entrepreneur in the field, what is the challenge that you have faced, and what could be done to make it better?
Okay, basically, we are a growing country, and I see the fashion industry in Nigeria is a virgin industry, whereby if being tapped into properly, a lot will be made out of it. The world is tapping into African kind of fabric right now, you get. So basically, our major challenge is capital. Yes, we have a lot of people who are good, they can create concepts, they can design, but they don't know how to start. So like he said, if that startup is available for most entrepreneurs to start something in the right channel, that's channeled directly, this fashion industry, I bet you, will go further than where it is right now.
Do you not think it's capital intensive because of the level of funding to be done in the area of infrastructural alternative? Because you find out that he's talked about the lack of electricity in some parts. I mean, it's across board. And most businesses will tell you that they thrive on, alternative power supply. And that costs money. Some people run their generator 24 hours. It costs a lot of money to put diesel. Do you not think that is where the capital goes? Rather than going into creative industries, it's going into, manpower and creating alternative environmental, opportunities for the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it is capital intensive, but as a starter, you start little, you get. Nobody starts big like that. Yeah, so you start gradually. And still encourage the government, yes, because basically in the industry generally, we have issue of power generally, which has to be addressed properly. So we really want that aspect addressed properly, because we use power to make most of what we do. Without light, you cannot sew. Without light, you cannot create some design. You cannot cut. You get. So if the power sector is also improved, capital is provided, manpower is provided, everything will go smoothly for we entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Fantastic. Where is this award taking place?
It's taking place at the Quality Sheraton Hotel in Abuja, 4 p.m. The dinner event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And entrepreneurs from which sectors are going to be recognized?
Okay. From virtually most of the sectors, all the sectors.
Okay.
And we also have opportunity for young entrepreneurs who want to come and then network. Also come.
Just stay with us for a moment. Well, let's bring you your report right now. When we come back, if we still have time, we would get the final words from our guests before we sign off. Just stay with us.
Stay with us.
And we want to say thank you so much for our guests who have been here with us. Incidentally, I thought we'll be within time to take one or two responses from you.
But we are top of...
One of the things he alluded to, which is the challenge of entrepreneurs, what I said about power is providing shared common facilities. One of the things we are doing is, from next week, the first batch of 30 youths who are going to China for training in automated shoe, because we want to automate our shoe production process.
From the manual process we do.
From the manual.
Incidentally, Uwabo, we are out of time. We can't
really
continue
take more
anymore.
Comments there.
We'll have more time to talk about that some other time on this show. Thank you so much. Uwaba Joshua is Executive Director, Nigerian Entrepreneurs. Beg your pardon. Chinenye Mwagu is Executive SSA to the Abia State Governor on job creation, youth development, and social